Hi friends, in this video we are going to see how to pass your JSON data to your REST controller. So in our previous videos we saw how to write a REST controller and what are the annotations we are using, and we also looked into the example like what is the difference between request mapping and get mapping, post mapping, delete mapping, put mapping. So those things also we discussed. Now in this example, so how to pass a JSON data to your REST controller and how to read that in your controller. So how to pass data to your REST controller, or how to read JSON data to your REST controller. Because nowadays, so when you are talking about RESTful web services, so 99% of data exchange happens through JSON only. So if you are talking about RESTful web services, see, your RESTful web services will support data exchange in JSON and HTML, plain text and HTML also. But maximum 99% of data exchange will happens over JSON only. So which protocol it will uses? HTTP protocol it will uses. So let me discuss. So here I am having my consumer. Sorry, here. So not that one. So here I am having my consumer who consumes my service, and here I am having a one producer. So producer means so who produces your service. So now, how these two service and producer will talk to each other? So by using HTTP protocol, and the data exchange happens over JSON. And how your consumer knows where your producer is there. So for that only we are using URI, Universal Resource Indicator. So this is a story we are going to do. Now from the consumer, I am going to send a JSON data to my producer, so that producer can read the JSON. So this is example I'm going to do. So here I'm going to send an employee data. So my JSON will contain 3 fields. It's a simple example. After that we will look into complex examples. And in this example, I'm not going to store the JSON into a database. Just I'm showing how to read the JSON in your controller. So in the next examples, we will look into how to store those data into database and all those things. But in this example, let's try to understand how to send or read your data in a producer. Producer means who produces the services. Consumer means who consumes the service. So in our case, so Postman is a consumer, our REST client is a consumer, or some legacy application might be a consumer. So how consumer knows where your producer is there? So this is URI, by using URI. So let's create a one JSON, and in this scenario we need to create different files. So first is we need to create a controller. Controller one you need to create, and second class is a bean class, means a model class. So which will contain setter getter methods, private variables, public methods. So that class also we are going to create, and in the controller we are going to bind these JSON values to this model class by using, so here I'm writing one controller, so emp controller. So this is my class, so which contains one method, m1 method, Azure m1 method. And here what you are doing, so which method we need to use, because we are posting the data. See, from here we are posting the data, so you need to use post @post mapping. And here you need to bind your incoming JSON request to your model class. How you will bind? By using @request body by using @request body annotation. You can bind your JSON to your POJO class in your controller. So this is also one of the interview question. So how you will bind your JSON to your POJO class? So and where you will bind? So in your controller, so your controller will have different methods or services. So in the services, so you need to use request body, and that request body internally uses JAXB, which used to bind your JSON to your Java class. So let's see that one. So now let me go to here. So I'm creating one more controller, new class, employee controller. I'm creating. Now I have created a, so yes, I have created one controller. So now what data I want to read in my controller? So I am sending the data as a JSON format. So open brace, close brace. How your simple JSON look like? So let me not share. So okay, once again language. So let me make this JSON. Yes. Now let me write one JSON. So how your JSON look like? So open brace, close brace. So now I want to use employee ID, emp ID. I want to pass. So it's an integer type. So employee ID. So 101. So next employee name I want to pass. Name. So employee name is Ravi, and employee address. So employee address also I want to pass to my controller. So employee address is Hyderabad. So this is a JSON. Now I want to pass this JSON to my controller. So where your controller will present? So from here, so this is consumer to producer. I want to set. So how the data exchange is happening? So JSON. So what is the protocol we are using? HTTP protocol we are using. Now, how you know where your producer is running? So that is URI. So these are the three things you need to know, and the data exchange is going to happen over JSON, and it's internally uses HTTP protocol. So, and how you will bind this data? So where you will store this data? So for that you need to write a model class. Model, that is nothing but a POJO class. So which will contains private emp id and private, sorry, int private string emp name and private string address. So this is a class. So here integer. So for this you need to create a setter getter methods. Yes. And after that, when you come to the controller, so in the controller you need to bind these values to this class. So how you will bind? For that we are going to use request body annotation in your method. So for that method, which HTTP method you need to use, because you are posting the data, right? You are not getting, so post method you need to use. So this is not user, so it is an HTTP method. So we are posting that data. So this is the thing we are going to do now. So this is my JSON which I am going to pass. Before doing that, let me validate my JSON. So go to here, Google validate JSON. Validate JSON. So paste it here. So let's validate the JSON. See, my JSON is not, so validate JSON. See, we are getting some issue. Yes, here I forgot semicolon. See, it will say so validate JSON. Now your JSON is validated. So if you are having some validation issues, so when you're sending this data to your controller, so in the controller it is using request body. So request body internally uses JAXB parser. So you will get a parsing exception, unable to parse JSON. So before sending the data in the format JSON, please make sure that your JSON is valid. Then only your JSON will be parsed properly, or else you will get JSON parser exception. Now my JSON is validated. So employee ID is an integer, name and address are string. So let me copy this. This is my request. So it's validated properly. Now, so let me create one POJO class for me. So, and one more thing is, all the classes should be subclasses of your main class package, because components can starts with this package only. So it will try to find out all the dependent classes from this package only. So if the package is outside, it won't be able to read. So all the packages you are going to create should be a sub package of your main package. Main package means the package which contains this class. So now let me create one new class emp model. So package name is model package and read model package. So I have created this. Let's see. Okay. Now I am having 3 packages. So this is main class, this is controller, and this is model. So if I go to model, yes, this is my class. So what are the attributes I need to use? Employee ID, private int, employee ID. No, next is employee name, private string, employee name. Next one, because I am going to send as a JSON these three fields on these three attributes only. So to read that, so we need to have a POJO class with these three properties. So this is a simple example I am explaining, but in next, after completing few examples, I will explain a complex JSON, because when you are working with your real-time project, so the JSON will be complex. So there will be one-to-one, one-to-many, many-to-many, many-to-one relation should be there. So those things I will explain in next sessions. But now let's see how to read a simple JSON. And in the next example, we will discuss how to store these values into a database. This is also string. So spelling is wrong. Spelling mistake. So wait. Now everything is done. Now let me generate getters and setters. After employee address, select all, generate. So now, so my POJO class is ready. Now, what are the attributes are there? So those only there in my POJO class also. So now everything is right. So now my job is, now I need to bind these values to my POJO class. So where to bind and how to bind? So you need to bind these two values in the controller. So in the controller method, you need to use request body. You need to use annotation and you need to bind these values. So which HTTP method I need to use, because we are posting the data. So post method you need to use for this method. Okay. So let's see the. So now let me go to my controller. So here is my controller. So let me write one method, public string. Okay, void. So insert record. So your method name should start with small letter. So now open brace, close brace. Now there is no compilation issues. So now this is ordinary class. Now I want to make this class as a controller. So how you will make? By using REST controller. Now, so now this is my method. How to make this method as method or a service? So how to make this method as a service? So for that, I need to use either request mapping or Postman. So what is the functionalities of this method? So this method has to read the JSON which is posted from the client. So which annotation I need to use? So get. We need to get the data. Get mapping. What is a path? EM is a path. Now controller is there. Everything is ready. Now how to bind the incoming request to my POJO class? So here inside the method you will have attributes like @request body. So for which POJO class you want to? So incoming request body will be mapped to your POJO class. So what is a POJO class name? So this is my POJO class name. Now done. So see, everything is done. So whatever the values you are passing from your Postman, so this is a request you are sending, right? So that will be binded. How it will bind? By using request body. Request body internally uses JAXB binding only. So now let's see this out. Dot get address Ravi get ID get name. So whatever the data you are passing, so will be binded. So how to call this one? Not get, because we are posting the data. So post. So post mapping. I'm using, because we are posting the data. So post mapping I'm using Control Shift O to remove unwanted imports. Now everything is ready. So whatever the JSON I'm passing, so this will be binded to this model class. This model is having all the required attributes. So, and it will be binded to this model class attributes or properties. Now let me run my server. So before running the server, so what is my path? Employee. Run. Spring Boot application. So I'm getting some issue. So where is my console? See why I'm getting the issue, because already in use, because my server is already running. So I'm again trying to restart. So let me stop the server. So see here, you need to look into that. See, it's already running mode. Let me clear. Now let me restart. See, if you are getting already bind, so go to here and stop the server. Because if your server is already running and again if you are trying to restart the server, so you will get the port number is already binded error. So let me run Spring Boot application. So, yes, now it started. Again, see, it started at 8080. If I'm again trying to start the server, see, you will get port is already in use. Yes, it's trying to start the server on the same port, but the port is already running. So that's why you are getting this issue. Okay. Anyway, my server is running. So here it's running properly. Not this one. Yes, this one is running properly. So now let me go to here. So this is my JSON request. Now go to here. So what is the URL? EMP. Now here, what method I need to select? And what method I need to select? Remember this. So we need to post the data. Yes. And here in the headers, you need to select. So your application will expect. So let me remove this. So if I send this, okay, you will get this error. See, 415 error, unsupported media type. Because if you are working with your RESTful web services, your RESTful web service by default expects JSON data. And here you are sending this. So for your client, So you are sending it as a, while sending you are not specifying what type of data you are sending. So that's why your producer is unable to read this data, unsupported media type. So you need to specify, so what type of data you are sending, or else your producer won't be able to read this. So it unable to understand. That's why unsupported media type. So go to here, header, application.json. Now you're saying, so hey producer, this is my data which is in the form of application.json. Let's send now. See, so headers 200, you got the 200 response now. So this is the data we sent, and let me go to the console. See here, you got the output. So I want to send data dynamically. One more request. So yeah, this is the one. Yeah, send it now. Praveen. So Raj and Bangalore. So send it. So see, so this is the way you will able to send the data dynamically to your controller. So from the controller. So let me send one more request. So 103. So another thing is test, employee name is test, and location is Chennai. Now, let's see. So I sent three values to the JSON. So three are read, 101, 102, 103. So this is a way you can dynamically send the data to your controller. Now, once you are able to read the data in your controller, then you write different service layer and DAO layer and insert the values into DB. And before sending this data, I want to do some validations. Yeah, do the validations, no problem. And after that, send it to service layer, and from there send it to DAO layer, and from there to store it into database. So first, before doing all these things, first you need to read the incoming JSON request to your controller. Request. So this is your controller. So read that in controller and pass it to something. So whatever the business requirement, you do it. So this is a simple example how to read the data dynamically into your control. So for that, you need to use a request body annotation inside the method. So here now we are sending full request, my total request. Sometimes I want to send only one parameter. So then you need to use query param or path value. So those things we will discuss later. So this is a way you can read the data in your control, total request into your control for posting the data. Hope this is clear. Yeah. Thank you.